10 seconds.
Eco.
Oh man, it's
By
starting
time.
to happen.
Oh no!
Dep's fighting too many. It's just King left over.
No time. King needs to run away. It did not happen in time. Oh no! It happens.
King finds the first. Still 2 left. Sugar Zero up top. Crow around the corner.
Oh no!
That's gonna be it. This is how it ends. 13-4. ZETA defeats Gen.G in an incredible series. I gotta say, that's the best form of ZETA I have seen yet.
And ZETA Division locked themselves in for playoffs. So many fans wondering if there was any hope left of a Japanese team making it to Masters Tokyo, and ZETA Division says we never gave up hope. We will lock in our own destiny to enter playoffs and get another chance in the double elim bracket to get to the top 3 to eventually going to Masters Tokyo.
You gotta love it. I mean, ZETA, a lot of people were doubting them coming into VCT Pacific, you know, but they are continuing to improve. They are leveling up. And this was a very tough opponent to overcome. I mean, Gen.G, of course, a powerhouse team in Korea, looking to be, you know, maybe the strongest or second strongest in the first couple of weeks here. But as we get to Super Week, this is ZETA's moment.
Absolutely. I mean, what a story. And of course, yes, there's still playoffs left. You still have to get to the top 3 to get into Masters Tokyo. It still feels like there's absolute mountains ahead of them to climb, but just the evolution of ZETA, right? So many of us, not just here in Pacific, but analysts around the world, you know, people who have been watching their games have been talking about the same weaknesses that ZETA Division has had ever since they made that fairy tale run at Masters Reykjavik last year. And they're starting to show a renewed performance, both in terms of team style, strategy, but most of all, the individual mechanics, the confidence of players like Dep, who was always so shaky when he came to these international lands, starting to really hold his own and allow the team to rotate around him.
Man, what an exciting moment and a very pivotal one. I mean, it looks like they're one more step closer, Team ZETA is, to actually going and playing in front of a Japanese audience in Tokyo.
Yeah, one step closer, right? Still a long way to go, but at least it guarantees that extra chance. If they had lost today, who knows what might have happened. And now Gen.G's in that position, a team that we all thought was surely top 3, if not top 2 here in Pacific, slipping so far away. And it's going to take a lot more for Gen.G to figure out what the core, the root is of that cause. But today, the focus is all on ZETA Division. You can see the fans. They were holding their breath the entire night. And they are so relieved to have witnessed that last match where ZETA Division is able to secure their playoff position here in VCT Pacific.
Man, what a story. What a day, William.
Yeah, it's been a crazy day.
What a crazy day this has been. Real privilege to cast these matches. Couldn't be more exciting. You know, RRQ surviving another best of 3, and then, of course, ZETA doing the same thing in really one of the most important matches of all of the weeks and weeks we've had here of Valorant for them.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I know I mentioned Dep a moment ago, but I also want to give a shout out for Crow as well. He might not always be putting up the numbers to get like the MVP votes and such, but he was also one of those shaky factors that ZETA Division used to have back when he was the main IGL. Ever since they've kind of taken that pressure off of him, given it to Laz. Laz has been a hero holding on to that pressure and really kind of maneuvering it for the rest of the team, and that has allowed Crow to grow into such a reliable initiator, and that combo between Dep and Crow, of course, Sugar Zero kind of finding his heroics again, 10 growing more and more back into his old Sentinel position. I mean, the ZETA Division that people wanted to see, it's starting to come together.
I love seeing this. I cannot wait for the moment we finally get to start casting the bracketed matches, man. ZETA, with so many questions that we had about this team, are they going to be able to improve? Are they going to be able to bring, you know, something new here? I think they have leaned into their style and made it work for them. They have come out here still being occasionally cautious and conservative, but they've randomized it a little bit more.
Yes, they've added more depth, right? It's not always just poke here, poke there, and then run down until 30 seconds. There's many more options that ZETA has worked on. Yes, there are still a couple rounds that go long, but again, if they're winning it, I mean, it's hard for us to blame them. In theory, probably something they're working on. I think we can see that as well in the way that they're making their decisions. But today, the ZETA Division that we saw just looked like the stronger team. And
now, we're actually going to go to an interview on the stage and see how our XQQ is feeling.
Thank you very much, casters. Now I'm standing here with ZETA's XQQ. And congratulations, XQQ, on clinching the playoffs. You must be really proud of your boys and very relieved that you secured playoffs as well.
もちろんです。
Anything else you would like to say?
この長いリーグでプレーオフ進出というのはすごく大事な要素だったので、本当にほっとしてます。
So I want to ask you about ZETA's playstyle change in general, especially on Haven, because ZETA in the past used to really prefer slow tempo, gathering as much information as possible before making a move. But we see recently ZETA taking a more proactive approach or more aggressive approaches as well. So is this something that you've been preparing for a long time, kind of saving in the back pocket for an important moment like this? Or is this something that you felt like was needed? Is this an adjustment that you had to make while playing through the Pacific?
ヘブンというマップ自体がもともとそういう動きが強いマップというのもあって、これまでそういうスタイルで戦っていたんですけど、やっぱりこうリーグを戦う中でさまざまな地域のチームとヘブンを戦わなきゃいけないので、自分たちにないスタイルをさらに増やしたりとか、特に本当に Gen.G はすごく形が分かりやすいではあったので、それに合わせた戦い方をしたと思います。
Okay, so it was more of a short-term adjustments that you guys made? Okay, maybe or maybe not. All right. One more question. ZETA's ability to fight to the finish, the resilience, where does that come from?
僕たちは本当に来季のマスターズ東京というのがあり、すごくプレッシャーのかかる状態でリーグを戦わなきゃいけないですけど、でもやっぱプレーオフには行かなきゃいけなくて、でもこう本当に辛い中、選手たちが最後まで諦めず戦えてくれてるのは、やっぱりこうマスターズ東京だったり、すいません、バラバラになっちゃったんだけど、そうですね。僕たちにとって多分一番大きいのはそのマスターズ東京が日本で開催されるっていうのが大きいかなと思います。
You're heading to playoffs. Now, how will you prepare for playoffs? What do you think the team needs to improve on?
これはリーグと変わらず、プレーオフに向けても、今まで通り、日頃の改善を重ねていくしかないかなと思っています。また、プレーオフではまた、今まで戦った敵と再戦することがあるので、リベンジに燃えてます。
A lot more work ahead of you. I wish you best of luck in the playoffs. Thank you for your time, XQQ. Congratulations once again. Well, that was XQQ after taking down Gen.G, and I'm going to throw it over to the desk to close out the day.
What an emotional win for ZETA. Yes, hi, Jen and Coach XQQ and everyone. You guys are just waving happily. Yeah, it's a really emotional win for ZETA. Like XQQ was saying, there was so much pressure on these guys to win. It's so important to them that they play in Masters Tokyo, and they're just one step closer to getting there.
Well, we had the map just before on Ascent. Gen.G were able to strike back really hard. It was 13-4, and then immediately ZETA come back, and they absolutely owned this map. I mean, what can you say? It was very one-sided once again. I'm kind of sad that I flip-flopped a little bit back to Gen.G. ZETA ended up being the much stronger team, and yeah, I mean, as Coach XQQ was saying, there has been a lot of pressure on these guys. I even saw the nerves when they first came on stage, but they were able to play through it, use it as motivation, which is the most important thing. And take a look at this as well. I think one of the most important things is that we were even talking backstage, like, guys like Depp and Laz, they're always going to be there. They're always going to have great score lines, above average. They're going to do their job. They're going to get the kills and clutch a bunch of rounds. But if guys like Sugar Zero can step up from time to time, this team is going to be insanely good. And not only did he step up, he went 23-9. He was just insane on this map.
Now, yesterday, Tasteless and Quack were remarking about ZETA's pacing. I think we talked a bit about it too. They tend to really take their time, wait until the nth hour to kind of go into sight. With that, though, we saw, we were saying like it would be good if ZETA just gets a bit more aggressive, and it looks like they did in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this play where they just send the Rolling Thunder straight out of B main. This is, it's a strategy you can use many times to just push out a B main from the defensive side, but a team like ZETA, as you were mentioning, not always the one to go for it, but they do it here. Just straight up able to take control of this area, and it turns out that Gen.G is all here as well, so it ends up being just a pretty much complete wipe. There were two members of Gen.G left over. They try to rotate over to A and then die, so we kind of cut that part out, so not as important. And it was right at the end of the first half where Gen.G were just like starting to get back into it, starting to rev up a little bit, and then immediately ZETA like slammed down this round in their face, and it was like, after that, it just felt like it was over. So it was just a great way, as you mentioned, to change up the pace, to get things back in ZETA's control, and then they ended up going on and winning the pistol round, and things kind of went their way from there.
Now let's talk about the guy. You guys mentioned him. He went from Sugar Zero to Sugar Hero
That's right.
today, and that's why
I like that.
he's our key player.
He's our sugar hero. This guy just popping all over right from the get-go here. It is the triple kill with the Ghost, the quadra kill actually, and he just absolutely just was dominating. I mean, look how fast he is in there. He's just, whoop, 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 whoop. I mean, this is just amazing, the mechanics that he's showcasing here in this round. Backing up Depp, you know, on this play that you just highlighted, Valdez, a second ago. But just wonderful stuff here. Just, I can't credit enough, like, his performance. And, again, if he's playing well, like Valdez was talking about earlier, if he's playing well and Crow is playing well, then, like, you know there's kind of consistency with Laz, for sure. Depp can be a little up and down, but so far this season, he's either been really high, had a few lows, but he's kind of stabilizing. So if Sugar Zero's good to go, then yeah, certainly this is a dangerous, dangerous team.
Yeah. I loved the round that Tasteless and Will commentated where he just stood there like a statue and the enemy team couldn't see him as he was just flashed for like full duration. And then he comes out, he's like, oh, here I am. And he like picks up a 3K. Really funny stuff. And yeah, it's great to see him popping off. You know, he has been mostly Sugar Zero, I feel, you know, living up to his name, but he was the Sugar Hero here. And who said that controllers can't carry Sugar Zero? Proved us wrong.
Doing controllers all over the world. Proud Sugar Zero today. And our MVP, we were a little split on this. And
well, one of us was.
Well, okay, yes.
Okay, one of us was right.
I wonder who it was.
Yeah, so while Sugar Zero was amazing, Laz, I think, you know, it has to be our MVP for today. Again, he's always that consistent player on the team, and it's just that anchor for all of them.
Yeah, I think that Sugar Zero, especially the last couple of maps, he was pretty consistent. He was great, especially on the last map, obviously. He was the big carry. He was definitely the key player over Laz, but Laz, he was right behind him. I think he was like second in terms of stats on the last map of Fracture, and he was really consistent over the 3 maps, even in the second map where they didn't really have that great of a shot. So yeah, just had to give it to this guy. Lots of clutch moments. He ended up being the MVP for this best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly the MVP of this team most of the time. No doubt about it. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the plays that he comes out with are just brilliant. His reactions, his mechanics are gorgeous. But I just felt like Sugar Zero had a little more impact, like, with his utility today. I thought, like, he was coming into that last map, he was, like, 27, 27, and 28 or something. Like, yeah, his kills and deaths were even, but he was having a ton of impact with his utility, with his assists. So, and then I thought with that performance on the last map, yeah, pushed him a little over the line in my opinion. But like, you could almost always pick Laz as the MVP for ZETA because he's always performing.
And this comes straight from Brimstone himself.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's how you know it's real.
That's right. Yeah, I looked at my little like iPad on my wrist and it told me like
said Sugar Zero.
Said
right
Sugar
there.
Zero today. Yeah.
Brimstone approved. Good job, Sugar Zero. I mean, you definitely get an honorable mention for MVP, but you're definitely also our key player for that final map.
I'm not begging you.